Hi, my name is Liz Hathaway and this is my astrological look at the week ahead. That's week 11 of 2021 and starting, of course, with Monday, the 15th of March already. So what is this week? What's this week looking like? What's the main themes, or one of the main themes of this week? I think we've got a sort of very strong sort of female energy running through this week, to be honest. What I'm looking at is Mercury moving into Pisces on Monday, which is the sign of Venus's exaltation. Venus is, of course, currently also in Pisces. On Tuesday, we have the moon moving into Taurus, which is the sign of the moon's exaltation. And then on Thursday, we have a Venus-Pluto sextile. And on Sunday, we see the planet Venus leaving her exaltation sign and moving into the sign of the warrior, moving into Aries, moving out of this kind of, you could almost say, passive water sign, a sign where she, would be, you could imagine, set on a pedestal of some sort, moving into put on the armor and fight, a kind of much more rebellious sort of energy coming out on the female side of things, I think, as this week progresses. But anyway, we start off with the moon in Aries at the beginning of the week, so it's already quite a fiery start of the week. This is almost like a prelude, if you like, to the Aries ingress, which is on Saturday. There's always a big shift when the sun moves into one of the cardinal signs. It's particularly Aries. It's traditionally the beginning of spring. But I mean, if we take that out of the equation, this is saying something very fundamental, these turning points in the year. They're saying something very fundamental about the Earth's relationship to the sun, and our sort of connection, if you like, through the ecliptic, to the wider cosmos. So these are very important moments. We call it, in astrological terms, the axis of the world, because they are turning points, major turning points. If the Earth didn't actually turn at that point, she would fly off her axis, let's face it, and go hurtling off into space. So these are important turning points, and we should certainly honour them and think about them. So that's on Saturday. But as I said, that's the sun moving into Aries. Great Aries ingress as well, by the way. But we start the week with the moon in Aries, sextile Jupiter, and then Mercury moving out of Aquarius into Pisces. Well, where Aquarius is fixed and opinionated and actually very abstract, or looking for ways, to solve problems. A great problem solver, Mercury in Aquarius. That, air, you can't box it in, so it's full of possibilities. But it is very opinionated. It's very fixed in its view. And once Mercury moves into Pisces, it almost like dissolves or absolves, we could also say as well. So it becomes much more watery solutions, It's almost like with Neptune in the picture there, think of things like chemical spills and things like this, anything watery, ocean related, but also feeling life with Mercury, because Mercury is close to the sun. As Mercury moves into Pisces, it's all about feeling the currents of things, sensing things, picking up things that, as we say in Dutch, you feel it in your water almost. It's a kind of a strange knowing which Pisces has. So, Mercury in Pisces, this is the kind of energy, give a Mercury Pisces person a picture and they'll hold it and they can sort of almost get a feel by looking and touching this picture about what this person might be like. It's picking up so much information from the invisible world, from the other side, that its relationship to consciousness, as we would know it from a Mercury Aquarius perspective, it's almost like a tenuous hold, if you like, on reality, but a complete shift there. Then on Tuesday, as I say, moon moves into Taurus, and then we have a sun sextile Pluto on Tuesday. And this is a kind of a theme that comes in as well on Thursday, when we see Venus sextile in Pluto as well. So this is about power. Pluto is about power. It's also about the patriarchy in a way. Capricorn, through its relationship with Saturn, it's about the male, it's about the father, it's about the patriarchy, and the sun as well. So how is power applied is one of the questions. How does it walk along the corridors of power? What are they like? What do they feel like? What does it feel like to be confronted with situations of power and powerlessness. These are often themes that come in when Pluto is prominent. And again, on Thursday, Venus sextile in Pluto, from her sign of exaltation. Yeah, this is almost in a way you could think, so many ways we could look at this really, it's in a way it's almost like a seduction of some sort, Venus in Pisces can be incredibly seductive, you want the dream, I'll give it to you, it's the Hollywood star status, it's that kind of, it's not reality, but my goodness, it's really appealing. And so she's almost tempting Hades, she's almost tempting this great god, drawing him in, if you like. It's a kind of a very seductive sort of energy. But it also, there's also that dark feel, the dark night, which is Pluto, and I mean not night as in N, but I'm thinking like, as in Batman, the Dark Knight. So yeah, there's a lot of charm here. There's a lot of sexual adventurousness in here. But again, those themes of power, powerfulness, abuse of power, misuse of power, they are themes that are running through that Venus-Pluto, Sun-Pluto thread, certainly with Pluto in Capricorn. And as we know in the UK, with the horrific murder that took place recently of a young woman walking home, it was 9 o'clock in the evening, walking home from a friend, and her body found dumped in a gym bag somewhere. And yesterday, women wanting to hold a vigil on Clapham Common, and the hard-handed, heavy-handed way that the police moved in there seems to symbolise almost this theme of misogyny and cruelty and abuse of the feminine. So, with Venus sextile Pluto, these are themes, there's, the last word hasn't been said over the policing of that event. And that is, for sure, it was completely dominating the news today, for sure. And then we see, as I say, that sort of Venus-Pluto, there's almost like a barter there. It's a sextile, but it's certainly, because it's a sextile, because there's opportunities, there's always opportunities too when things like this happen. And I think the opportunity that we're going to see are going to be very much connected to Venus moving into Aries. And don't forget, the background for all of this is Uranus in Taurus. If you listen back to the vlog I made over Uranus in Taurus, there's a lot of big feminists had Uranus in Taurus, and at the moment only one springs to mind. That's Germaine Greer. Controversial, mouthy, not the traditional type of woman, really, but really changing the perception of the feminine, in the 60s, forevermore. And all the time, women, I think we're advancing slowly. And then we get Venus in Aries, of course, traditionally her sign of detriment. But on the other hand, why is Venus in detriment in Aries? Because she's not compliant, because she's not hush-hush, she's not like Venus in Libra. Let's keep the peace. This is a warring Venus. This is a fighting Venus. This is the warrior mentality. This is on another level, it's incredibly attractive sort of energy as well. This is, as I say, that kind of dominatrix energy is also in there. This is a Venus not to be subdued, not to be silenced, who's going to speak out. And certainly, just changing her position, Venus is in Pisces just as the sun moves into Aries. But I mean, the day after we see Venus moving into Aries. So I think the anger, because we know under the lockdown, the increase of violence towards women, and Uranus is in Taurus at the moment, right? So, there's a lot more to be said and done. We're not there yet, ladies, are we? We all know this. So it's a big week. We also have in the Netherlands, we have an election on the 17th of March between those two sextiles, Sun sextile Pluto, Venus sextile Pluto. We have an election here, which, if we look at the chart for that election, there's no fire in it. So it's not a very exciting, the energy isn't like really exciting around these elections. And everyone pretty much thinks that Mark Rutte, who is the current Prime Minister, will win again. And I have to say, when I look at his chart and I look at the kind of connections that are going on between the date of the election and his horoscope, he has transit Jupiter conjunct his Sun, for example, transit Sun conjunct his Saturn, transit Moon conjunct his North Node, Moon, the people, of course, on an election day. I would say he's sitting, for now, pretty comfortable in the saddle. But yeah, it's that kind of energy at the moment. All things can change. Okay, thank you all for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.